Hi, we are celebrating National Estuaries Week this week. Today is the kickoff, and for the introduction to National Estuaries Week, we are out here on Mobile Bay, the Mobile Bay Estuary. An estuary is a place where freshwater and saltwater come together and meet and mix in a semi-enclosed basin. And they're very important ecosystems, and they provide a lot of benefits to the oceans, to humans. They are ecologically and economically important. They're nursery grounds. They're places where baby animals or juvenile animals can find food and shelter. And many of those baby animals grow into fishery species, such as shrimp and crabs and fish. And so they also provide for food and many jobs. And when those babies grow larger, many of them leave the estuary system and go out into the Gulf of Mexico or out into the ocean. So estuaries also feed the seas. And they are gateways between river and sea. So they are part of a global transportation network. So estuaries are important for many reasons. And we're going to highlight the Mobile Bay Estuary in particular. So a little bit about the dimensions of Mobile Bay. It's a large estuary, and it's shallow. It's only about 10 feet deep on average, and it's fringed by salt marshes and oyster reefs, which in the temperate climate are important components of an estuary system. So a couple of questions to address briefly. Where does the salt water that makes Mobile Bay an estuary come from? It comes from the Gulf of Mexico. And where does the fresh water come from that makes Mobile Bay an estuary? So here is the point where the rivers are emptying into Mobile Bay, freshwater emptying into Mobile Bay. So to expand that a little bit, this is Mobile Bay here. And what is seen on the green part of this map is the Mobile Bay Watershed. A watershed is an area of land that drains to a particular body of water, in this case Mobile Bay. And so you can identify a watershed by finding all of the rivers and streams that empty into that body of water and tracing them back to their source, back to the beginning. And the land that those rivers and streams drain is the watershed. So the watershed of Mobile Bay covers most of the state of Alabama, part of Mississippi, part of Georgia, and a little bit of Tennessee. You can think of this line here as sort of a geographic ridge, and if it rains on this side of the ridge, that water has the potential to flow to Mobile Bay. If it rains on the other side of that ridge, it will be directed into a different watershed. So Mobile Bay is the fourth largest watershed in the United States as measured by water volume. Every day about 42 billion gallons of fresh water flows into Mobile Bay. And there's another way that you can measure the size of a watershed, and that would be by land area. And Mobile Bay is the fifth largest watershed in the continental United States. So it's a very large watershed with a lot of fresh water flowing into Mobile Bay. We have had a lot of rain lately, and it's overcast today. We're expecting more rain. So the rain that falls not just on Mobile Bay, but all over the watershed contributes to this estuary system. So we hope that you will learn some more about estuaries and their component parts and the research here at the Dauphin Island Sea Lab. And thanks for joining us.